If you've been telling yourself the commute from Kenosha into Chicago is basically the same as what you're dealing with right now in Lake or Cook County, I want to stop you right there. It's not. And depending on which way you go, it could either save you real time every week or cost you more than you're planning for. Here are the real numbers. By car on a normal day, you're looking at about a 70 to 75 minutes into the loop, depending on if it's during rush hour and assuming that there's no accidents on the interstate. That climbs to somewhere between 90 to 100 minutes during rush hour. By train, the ride takes about an hour and a half. But here's a number that nobody checks before they actually move. Only 10 trains a day leave the Kenosha station for Chicago. Not 10 an hour, 10 total for the entire day. I'm Chad Scott with Epique Realty. Aalia and I help Illinois families make this exact move every week. And I want to walk you through both options with real numbers instead of guesses. Because this decision affects your daily life a lot more than the house itself does. Driving gives you total control over your schedule, but it costs more in time and money than most people plan for. For example, the distance from Kenosha into downtown Chicago runs about 62 to 65 miles, depending on your route. On a normal day, that's about 70 to 75 minutes. Add real rush hour traffic and you're closer to 90, sometimes 100 minutes. On the money side, Illinois runs the Tollway, completely electronic now. No cash lanes. Anywhere at all. An iPass gets you close to half off compared to paying by credit card later. The exact toll total depends on which ramps you get on and off at. So before you commit to a route, run your specific commute through the Illinois Tollway's own trip calculator rather than guessing. And there's something timely worth knowing right now. The Tollway has proposed its first ever toll increase since 2012, about 45 cents more per toll for passenger vehicles, starting January 1st of 2027. If it gets approved, it's not finalized yet, and the public comment period on the proposal is open right now through noon on August 3rd. Now, I personally think that's ridiculous, and I only see road work being done on the same stretch of road over and over again. So I'm making my voice heard to Illinois, and if you want to make your voice heard, whether you're for the increase or against it before it gets decided, there's a link in the description down below to submit a comment before the deadline. Now, Chad, doesn't the traffic clear up once you're past the state line anyway, away from the city? Well, yeah, that's true, as long as there isn't an accident, construction, or a cop sitting there. The worst stretch is actually the last 15 to 20 miles into the city itself, not the drive up near the border. That's where the real time gets eaten. So budget your decision around the rush hour version of this drive, not the easy Sunday afternoon version. What this means for you is if you have a job that has any flexibility on start time, even 30 minutes, that alone can be the difference between a 75-minute drive and a 100-minute drive. That is worth asking your employer about before you decide to buy up here in the Kenosha area. I hear all the time that the train can take the stress out of this commute. But is it as simple as hopping on whenever you want? Well, Kenosha's Metra station is the very last stop on the Union Pacific North Line, and it sits in Fare Zone 4. A one-way ticket into the city runs $6.75, and a full monthly pass is $135. The ride itself is about an hour and a half. Now, here's what most people don't check. On today's actual weekday schedule, only 10 trains a day depart Kenosha for Chicago. And it's only 9 trains a day that run the other way back from Chicago into Kenosha. That is nowhere close to that 20 or 30 minute service that you get on a stop closer to the city. There's also a real gap in the middle of the day. The last morning rush train out of Kenosha leaves at 8:08, and the next one doesn't leave until 12:08 in the afternoon. A 4-hour gap. Coming home is where this actually matters for your workday. Chicago to Kenosha runs 5 trains in a row in a tight window, between 4 and 6 in the evening. So if you work a standard day, you've got real options for the ride home. But if you miss that window, the next train back to Kenosha doesn't leave until 10:32 at night. That makes for a really late night getting home. So can I really commute every single day without a car if I live in Kenosha? Well, that depends entirely on whether your actual work hours line up with one of those roughly 10 trains a day, or whether the line exists in general. This is exactly the kind of detail that people find out once they've actually moved here. Before you assume that the train solves your commute, pull up the actual current weekday schedule for the Kenosha stop specifically, not just the general Union Pacific North Line, and check it against your real start and end times of your workday schedule. Because a schedule built around a 9 to 5 with fixed hours works very differently than than one without any flexibility at all. So what this means for you is that if your schedule is flexible, the train can generally work for you and save you time and stress off driving 94 in January. But if you have a fixed early start time or a late finish that doesn't line up with one of those roughly 10 daily trains, verify the exact Kenosha or origin times before you count on this as your plan. By the way, if you want the full picture on making this move, not just the commute, but the taxes, neighborhoods, and the whole process, I've got a free 14-page Kenosha Relocation guide linked in the description. Grab it while you keep watching. Now, neither option is objectively better. It depends on your job, not which one sounds nicer. Driving costs more in gas and tolls and eats more time, specifically during rush hour. But it gives you full control over when you leave and when you come home. The train costs less per trip and takes the driving stress off the table, especially in winter, but it locks you into a fixed departure time and may or may not match your actual job and schedule. And honestly, it may just be better if you want to go downtown for a special event or just for the day. Isn't there an obvious answer here though, Chad? Well, no, and I'd rather tell you that than pretend like there's any universal answer that just makes a cleaner video. Some of my clients drive because their job starts before the first useful train even runs. Others take the train because they'd rather read or do some work on the way in rather than fight the I-94 traffic every single morning. The right answer depends on your specific work hours and personality, not on which option sounds more appealing on paper. So what this means for you is before you commit to a neighborhood or even a specific house, pull up both the current Kenosha Metra schedule and a real rush hour drive time estimate for your actual commute from the house that you like and hold them up against your actual job hours. That 10 minutes of research now can save you a miserable daily commute later. If you found this video helpful, make sure you check out my video comparing Kenosha, Pleasant Prairie, and Summers. Which one is the best place to live? Want the full picture on making this move, including real numbers on taxes, neighborhoods, and this exact commute? Make sure that you grab my free 14-page Kenosha Relocation guide, linked down here in the description below. Or if you're ready to talk through your specific work schedule and whether this commute actually works for your life, just text me at 262-331-1621. Either way, I've got you covered, and I'll see you in the next one.